Assalamu alaikum. I'm Dr. Aisha from Anatomy Department. Our topic for today is arteries and veins of the hand. We'll start with arteries of the hand. First of all, main arteries supplying the hand are the ulnar artery and the radial artery. Here is the ulnar artery on the medial side of the hand, and here is the radial artery. Both these arteries, they form two arches in the palm, which are termed as the deep palmar arch and the superficial palmar arch. We'll talk about these arches in detail in a while. Radial and ulnar arteries are responsible for blood supply of all the muscles, bones and joints of the hand either through their direct branches or through these arches. Let's talk about their courses and branches in detail one by one. Now let's talk about the course of ulnar artery in the hand. Here is the image of hand. This is the radial artery. This is the ulnar artery. The ulnar artery, it enters the hand by passing superficial to the flexor retinaculum between the pisiform and the hook of Hammett. The ulnar artery, it passes deep to the volar carpal ligament. This is the volar carpal ligament, or you can also say the ulnar artery, it passes through the ulnar canal or Guy's canal, just superficial to the flexor retinaculum, and enters the palm. Through its course, the ulnar artery, it lies lateral to the ulnar nerve. This yellow colored structure is the ulnar nerve, and just lateral to this we have ulnar artery at the wrist and in the palm of hand. After entering the hand, the ulnar artery, this one, it divides into two terminal branches. The first one is the superficial palmar branch, this one. As you can see here, this superficial palmar branch is joined by the superficial palmar branch of the radial artery, and it forms the superficial palmar arch in the hand. The second branch of the ulnar artery is the deep palmar branch, this one. This deep palmar branch, it joins the deep terminal branch of the radial artery and forms the deep palmar arch in the palm of hand. We'll talk about the superficial palmar arch first of all. Here is an image showing the superficial palmar arch and its branches in the hand. Here is the ulnar artery. Here is the radial artery. This is deep palmar branch of ulnar artery. We'll talk about this deep branch later on. And this is the superficial palmar branch of the ulnar artery, which is the main continuation of the ulnar artery. The superficial palmar arch, it forms an important anastomosis between the ulnar and radial arteries. As you can see in this image, the convexity of this arch is directed towards the fingers. Talking about the formation of this superficial arch, the superficial palmar arch is formed by the direct continuation of the ulnar artery, this one, beyond the flexor retinaculum, and on the lateral side, this superficial palmar arch is completed by the superficial palmar branch of radial artery, this one. This is the superficial palmar branch of radial artery, and this is the deep branch, or you can say the main continuation of the radial artery. So the superficial palmar arch is formed by the superficial palmar branch or main continuation of the ulnar artery, and is completed laterally by the superficial palmar branch of radial artery. Now talking about the relations of the superficial palmar arch. This superficial palmar arch, it lies deep to the palmaris brevis muscle and the palmar aponeurosis. Whereas, as you can see in this image, we have flexor digiti minimi muscle, flexor tendons of all the fingers, lumbrical muscles, these one are the lumbrical muscles, and the digital branches of median nerve. All these structures, they lie deep to this superficial palmar arch. Now talking about the branches of superficial palmar arch, the first branch arising from this superficial palmar arch is the proper digital artery for the fifth finger, this one. This proper digital artery, it supplies the medial side of the little finger, as you can see here. It is named as proper palmar digital artery for the fifth finger, right? Now, the second branches which arises from the superficial palmar arch are the three common palmar digital arteries, 1, 2 and 3. Three common palmar digital arteries. The word common indicates that they have to supply the adjacent sides of the two fingers. We have the common palmar digital artery for the adjacent sides of the two fingers. That is why they are termed as common palmar digital arteries, 1, 2 and 3. Three common palmar digital arteries, they arise from the superficial palmar arch. Now, as you can see in this image, each common palmar digital artery, it further divides into two branches which are termed as the proper digital arteries, right? Each common artery further divides into two proper digital arteries which supply the adjacent sides of the two fingers. In this way, these branches of the superficial palmar arch, as you can see here, they supply the medial 3.5 fingers, 1, 2, 3 complete fingers and half of the index finger, medial side of the index finger. These medial 3.5 fingers are supplied by this superficial palmar arch. These common digital arteries are also joined by the corresponding palmar metacarpal arteries from the deep palmar arch. We'll talk about these palmar metacarpal arteries in detail in the deep palmar arch. That's all about the superficial palmar arch and the ulnar artery in the hand. Now let's talk about the course and branches of radial artery in the hand. Here is the radial artery. As you can see in this image, the radial artery, after reaching the lower end of the forearm, it curves dorsally around the scaphoid and trapezium and crosses the floor of the anatomical snuff box. It enters the anatomical snuff box by winding around the lower end of the forearm or wrist. But before entering the anatomical snuff box, this radial artery, it gives off a superficial palmar branch, this one. This superficial palmar branch, it joins the superficial palmar branch of the ulnar artery and completes the superficial palmar arch, this one. Then the radial artery itself, it enters the anatomical snuff box. This is the deep branch of the radial artery or the main continuation of the radial artery. It then enters the palm after passing between the two heads of first dorsal interosseous muscle Then it turns medially like this by passing between the two heads of adductor pollicis muscle. This radial artery, or the deep branch of radial artery, it ends by anastomosing with the deep palmar branch of the ulnar artery, this one, and completes the deep palmar arch. This deep palmar arch is mainly formed by the radial artery. This arch lies across the metacarpals just distal to their bases. These are the bases of metacarpals, and as you can see in this image, this deep palmar arch, it lies just distal to these bases. Talking about the relations of radial artery in the hand, here is the dorsal aspect of the hand, here is the palmar aspect of the hand. In this view, you can see the radial artery, it leaves the forearm by winding backwards around the wrist. Then it passes superficial to the scaphoid and trapezium. This is scaphoid, this is trapezium bone. The radial artery lies superficial to these bones and enters the anatomical snuff box. In the anatomical snuff box, it lies deep to the tendons of abductor pollicis longus, extensor pollicis brevis, and extensor pollicis longus muscles. Then it reaches the proximal end of first interosseous space and passes between the two heads of first dorsal interosseous muscle. This is the first dorsal interosseous muscle. The radial artery passes between the two heads of this muscle and enters the palm. In the palm, the radial artery, it runs medially like this. At first, it lies deep to the oblique head of adductor pollicis muscle. This is the oblique head of adductor pollicis muscle. This is the transverse head. At first, it lies deep to this oblique head. Then it passes between the two heads of adductor pollicis muscle here and joins the deep palmar branch of ulnar artery and completes the deep palmar arch in the hand. As it lies, or it passes deep to this muscle, that is why it is termed as deep palmar arch, as it lies deep in the palm. That's all about the course and relations of radial artery in the hand. Now let's talk about its branches. Talking about the branches of radial artery, it gives off two branches on the dorsum of hand and two branches in the palm. Branches on the dorsum of hand are one branch for the lateral side of the dorsum of the thumb, and the second branch is termed as first dorsal metacarpal artery, which supply the adjacent sides of the thumb and index finger on the dorsum of hand. We'll talk about these arteries in detail in the dorsum of the hand. Today we'll focus on branches of radial artery in the palm. Here is an image showing the branches of radial artery and superficial and deep palmar arches as well. Here is the radial artery. This is superficial branch of the radial artery, and this is the deep palmar branch of radial artery, which forms the deep palmar arch, this one. As you can see from the deep branch of radial artery in the palm, just deep to the oblique head of adductor pollicis, this radial artery, it gives off two branches. The first one is princeps pollicis artery, this one, and the second branch is radialis indicis artery, this one. This princeps pollicis artery, it divides at the base of the proximal phalanx of thumb into further two branches. These two branches, they supply the palmar aspect of the thumb. both lateral and medial aspects. The second branch, which is the radialis indicis artery, it descends between the first dorsal interosseous muscle and the transverse head of adductor pollicis muscle, and it supplies the lateral side of the index finger, this one. Both these branches are supplying only the palmar aspects of the index finger and the thumb. The dorsal aspects are supplied by the first dorsal metacarpal artery and a direct branch of the radial artery on the dorsum of the hand. We'll talk about these branches of the dorsal aspect later on. That's all about the branches of radial artery in hand. Now let's move on to the deep palmar arch. The deep palmar arch, it provides a second channel connecting the radial and ulnar arteries in the palm. The first one being the superficial palmar arch, which we have already discussed in the previous slides. It is termed as deep palmar arch as it is situated deep to the long flexor tendons and deep to the adductor pollicis muscle. Talking about the formation of deep palmar arch, it is formed mainly by the terminal branch of the radial artery. This is the radial artery. This is the deep terminal branch of radial artery, which is completed medially by the deep palmar branch of the ulnar artery, this one. This deep palmar branch of ulnar artery, it joins the deep palmar branch of radial artery, the main continuation of this artery, and it completes this arch. As you can see in this image, this deep palmar arch, it lies just distal to the bases of these metacarpal bones. These are the bases of metacarpal bones, and this arch lies just distal to these bases in the palm. Talking about the relations of deep palmar arch, as you can see here, the shafts of these metacarpal bones and all the interosseous muscles which arises from these shafts, they lie deep to this deep palmar arch, whereas the oblique head of adductor pollicis, this one, flexor tendons of the fingers and all the lumbricals, they lie superficial to this palmar arch, or you can say the deep palmar arch, it lies deep to the transverse head of adductor pollicis, all the long flexor tendons and the lumbrical muscles of the hand. In addition to that, the deep branch of ulnar nerve, it lies within the concavity of this arch. This is the concavity of this arch within which the deep branch of ulnar nerve lies. Talking about the branches of deep palmar arch, this is the deep palmar arch. This light pink colored arch is the deep palmar arch. The first branch or the first set of arteries which arises from this deep palmar arch are termed as the palmar metacarpal arteries. Palmar metacarpal arteries. From the convexity of this palmar arch, there arises 3 palmar metacarpal arteries, 1, 2 and 3 palmar metacarpal arteries, which run distally in the second, third and fourth spaces. These palmar metacarpal arteries, they supply the medial 4 metacarpal bones and they terminate at the finger clefts by joining the common digital branches of the superficial palmar arch. These are the common digital branches of the superficial palmar arch. These palmar metacarpal arteries, they join these common palmar digital branches. In this way, these two arches, they are connected with each other. The second set of arteries which arises from the deep palmar arch is the perforating digital arteries. These perforating digital arteries, they pass through the medial 3 interosseous spaces, and they passes from palm on to the dorsum by passing through these interosseous spaces and anastomose with the dorsal metacarpal arteries. These dorsal metacarpal arteries are branches of the dorsal carpal arch, which is formed on the dorsum of the hand. The function of these digital perforating arteries is to connect the palmar digital branches of superficial palmar arch with the dorsal metacarpal arteries. In this way, we came to know that not only the superficial and deep palmar arches, they are connected to each other through these palmar metacarpal arteries, but the palmar arterial arch is also connected with the dorsal arterial network through the 3 perforating digital branches which connect these palmar arches to the dorsal metacarpal arteries on the dorsum of hand. The first 2 branches of deep palmar arches, they arises from convexity of the deep palmar arch. Now the third branch which arises from the deep palmar arch is the recurrent branch of the deep palmar arch. This one, this lighter one is the deep palmar arch, and this distal one, which is darker in color, is the superficial palmar arch. From this deep palmar arch, here we have the recurrent branch. This recurrent branch, as you can see, it passes proximally to supply the carpal bones, and it ends by joining the palmar carpal arch. This recurrent branch, as you can see, it is arising from the concavity of this deep palmar arch. It passes proximally and ends by joining the palmar carpal arch, which we have already discussed in the previous lecture. That's all about the branches and formation of the deep palmar arch in the hand. Now talking about the clinicals of palmar arterial arches. Whenever the palmar arterial arches are lacerated, bleeding is usually profuse. It may not be sufficient to ligate only one forearm artery to stop the bleeding, because these vessels usually have numerous communications in the forearm and hand. As I have already told you that both superficial and deep palmar arches, they communicate with each other through the palmar metacarpal arteries, and also the palmar and dorsal carpal arches, they also communicate with each other through the various perforating arteries. In this way, the radial and ulnar arteries, they have numerous communication in the forearm and hand through these anastomoses. So we cannot stop the bleeding by just ligating one of these arteries. To obtain a bloodless surgical operating field for treating complicated hand injuries, it may be necessary to compress the brachial artery and its branches proximal to the elbow. This procedure prevents blood from reaching both the ulnar and radial arteries through the anastomoses around the elbow joint, and bleeding can be controlled. Now let's talk about the veins of the hand or venous drainage of the hand. As you already know, veins accompany and follow the course of the arteries. As we have superficial and deep palmar arterial arches in the hand, so there must be the accompanying superficial and deep venous arches in the hand as well. As you can see here, these superficial and deep venous palmar arches, they drain into the deep veins of the forearm, which are the ulnar and radial veins respectively. These radial and ulnar veins, as you already know, they further drain into the brachial vein, which is the main vein in the arm. This brachial vein then receives the drainage from the basilic vein at the lower border of teres major muscle and becomes the axillary vein. This axillary vein then receives the drainage from cephalic vein and it becomes the subclavian vein, this one. That was all about the arterial and venous drainage in the hand. We have done the venous drainage only on the palmar side of the hand. We'll do the dorsal venous arch or venous drainage of the dorsum of hand in our next substage.